music pumping. We got the music pumping. Okay, all right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Dano Crypto. Welcome back, Dojo crew. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you are doing well. If you are new to the channel, welcome. We do these live streams Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have been on a freaking 90-week or more streak of live streams, and we've just been having a blast and going through the waves, going through the waves of volatility that are basically necessary to learn how to navigate and be successful in any type of investment journey, and especially in crypto, because crypto has, as you can see, these waves of volatility with being connected and correlated with movements with the stock market, with global liquidity, with regulatory clarity, with geopolitical stuff. So obviously, with all of these different factors affecting the price, there are key things that we should focus on that are actually driving price and actually driving these movements. And we are, we don't know exactly. No one really knows, but at least these things give us an indication of where we should be. And I think, in my personal opinion, and you guys probably feel this way too, it's to be in crypto, to learn about crypto, to just have skin in the game in crypto. And this is giving you a risk profile that will, I think, if you stick with it long enough, will give you a reward, because it's all about the risk-reward ratios in this game of investing and just in life in general. So let's get good at handling the risk, and let's get good at hodling and surviving through the waves of volatility so we can reap the benefits and the rewards of staying in the game. My friends, what's going on? Let's get pumped up. What an intro. All right, let's go. No script, baby. No script. That's right off the dome. All right, so let's hit that like button. Please stick with the live stream to the very end. We're going to cover some news. We got some specific things we want to talk about. We're going to cover the charts. We're going to cover the range trading that's happening right now. We can see some major liquidation levels that the market is trying to sweep some of the high leverage trades. Luckily, our trades are still in the green. We've had these trades open for a couple days now, and we just basically kept it simple. We're like, look, we're going to trade Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're not going to try and trade the altcoins right now. They're very swingy, but I think if we can get a confirmed breakout here, then the alts will follow suit, and then you could potentially get into some really good swing long setups on some of these altcoins. We're going to pull up some of the charts on the weekly, so then you guys can see how you can be looking at this market in a more zoomed out perspective, and you can get a better feel for what is strong to hold as well, because then you can analyze which altcoins are actually performing above a good 20 EMA moving average, and also getting close to getting above the 200-day moving average and holding, which can signify strength going into the last Q4 of this year, and then going into Q1 and 2 of next year, because that's very important. We want to have good buy pressure coins going up into the first 2 quarters of next year. That's where I think we're going to see some of these altcoins explode, a lot of them being possibly a lot of gaming tokens. I think gaming and something's going to pop whenever we have a major milestone adoption point for crypto gaming, whether it be implementation with a marketplace or a auction house, like inside of what I think is going to be World of Warcraft 2. I think they're going to be releasing World of Warcraft 2 probably sometime. They're going to make a big announcement either this year or next year. Blizzard is going to be like, boom, we're going to have crypto. We're going to have an auction house that's going to generate actual like tokens and then in-game gold, NFTs. I mean, just imagine. It'll be phenomenal. And that will be, I think, the thing to actually get people to even start playing World of Warcraft again. Like, even the people that played it back in the day, they're going to go, whoa, I gotta try this. And I think that's just my guess. It's just a theory. Don't quote me on this. It's just a theory. But I think either that or the Grand Theft Auto implementation of being able to generate income inside the games is going to be revolutionary. And so this is going to be a whole separate bull run, separate from the TradFi going into blockchain and these tokenized stocks, real world assets, implementation of stable coins with states minting stable coins. The regulatory clarity is now in for that, for stable coins. And also we're going to run down some of these blockchains that are going to be used for stable coins. We're going to, let's see, this is all the stuff that's kind of like regulatory news and changes for crypto in the past couple weeks, what we are kind of keeping our eye on and what is happening. So the SEC ETF guidance, the new disclosure rules for crypto ETFs is a simplified listing process proposed. Now we have the U.S. House crypto. Now U.S. House and the White House have now deemed between January 14th and 18th would be called Crypto Week. So we have planned votes on the Genius Act, stablecoins. We have the Clarity Act, which is the CFTC oversight. So I think the Clarity Act is where I think they want to switch more of the crypto focus of a regulatory standpoint for the CFTC, Commissioned Futures and Trading Commission, and instead of it being the SEC, which is Securities Exchange Commission, which is like kind of, I feel like, is old and outdated. And that's what a lot of people think is like the way that they are using their the way that they're breaking things down. It's not really, it doesn't match up for how our world operates right now. Some of it does, but then some of it doesn't. I still don't really understand it as much as I would like to, because a lot of it is very convoluted and it does go by old rules. But I think now that we're starting to learn about this stuff, we're seeing more of crypto getting into a more, solid regulatory framework, because it kind of has to. When big money's coming in, it has to be regulated in some type of way for then the institutions to get on board, for big money to start to even touch it, for the stock market to touch it, for then treasuries and things to be set up. And that this is why all this is happening, because the money's flowing, liquidity is flowing because into these assets, because it's a way and a hedge against the fiat system that's being debased. And the big money knows this, and we just have to be like on that train too and not get sidelined. This is the whole point, I think, of even why I have a channel and why I started to even talk about crypto, is because I think what always happens is that the retail always ends up getting kind of sidelined, and the big money makes the moves first. And we, unsuspecting, start catching wins and then finally pay attention when it's like when they're selling and it's like going into, quote, bear market, and they've made the gains, and then you end up like kind of just coming in when the party's over. So this is what we have to do, is be those people that are going to then be there first and also with them, so we can ride the waves of volatility and not be sidelined. And so this is, we have to learn about this stuff. We have to keep our eyes focused on the prize. Lock in. All right, so Coinbase pushes a Clarity Act, which 65 crypto firms urge CFTC oversight shift. So this is what I was talking about, the shift over from the SEC to it being CFTC oversight. Loomis crypto tax bill, which would be a $300 de minimis rule, ends mining staking double taxation. I'm not sure what that is. The Supreme Court rejects the Coinbase appeal, which is the IRS can access 14,000 user data. Hold on just a second. Someone just rang my doorbell. Okay. Is that a neighborhood friend knocking on the door? All right. So, and then we have, let's see, the SEC pauses Grayscale ETF conversation. So digital large cap fund under review. SEC pushes Solana ETF filings. Issuers urged to refile by July 7th end, or I guess by July's end, just in general. We got the Ripple Circle Bank charters. Both apply for U.S. national bank charters. So they're really trying to get Ripple that's kind of their mission. They want to be, the pick for the big banks to be using the XRP ledger. And also, they have their RLUSD, which is the Ripple stablecoin. So they're trying to get a lot of liquidity kind of spread across, test out the ecosystem, see how that stablecoin could work. The transactions per second, we've done a little bit of research on that, and we were kind of comparing different transactions per second for different blockchains and thinking like, okay, is this important or is it not? It might be in terms of use case for some of these blockchains, and if combined with the TVL, combined with the DeFi action, the volume, and the transactions per second, and it all can be stable, then I think this is how we can pick certain chains of what institutions will naturally pick, because then they see the stats, they see that the revenue is happening. Hold on just a second. All right. And what's going on, guys? I hope you're feeling well. I hope you're feeling good. I'm feeling good. All right, office doors shut. Office doors shut. All right, so yeah. So I kind of start to think to myself, could it be as easy as doing just this basic, whoever's doing this basic research, this isn't extensive research. It doesn't take that long to kind of even just use, Grok or ChatGPT, make you a table, ask those basic questions, give some context, and you can start to see some different chains that we've talked about, and also that we've, that have certain connections to them of why we would want to pay attention to them. Like one of them, for instance, like we don't really own, I think we bought like a couple of Ton, and we have like, we test out the Ton wallet, and I think we even maybe have like the dog, whatever that dog meme was on the Ton blockchain. But this is one that I don't really own that much, but I see why it could be a potential long-term hold over time, because the transactions per second is good. The stables are solid, or this is, I think, at least the total value locked. This is the TVL, 1.2 billion. And then this is a chain that can handle minting a lot of USDT, and it has native USDT on Ton. So, and also connected with the Telegram app, which has millions of users. So you just think that the access of the blockchain. So this is just something that, to pay attention to. I'm not saying buy Ton, but there could be reasonings why this could be a blockchain that will survive multi-cycles. That's what you have to think. If you're going to hold an altcoin, you want to be holding something that is going to be multi-cycled, and it will pump with momentum and not just like go into the ground, because there are altcoins that do not perform very well against Ethereum or even Bitcoin. And then if that's the case, then it's atrocious. Then it's a nightmare, because then you have Bitcoin pumping and Ethereum even doing better, and then your altcoin, whatever it may be, it's just not moving. It's just dead. So you have to be where the money and the liquidity is flowing and where these coins are kind of trading good against Bitcoin and also Ethereum. Oddly enough, Pepe was one of those coins that was trading really well alongside Bitcoin and also with Ethereum. Like whenever Bitcoin, I noticed was whenever Bitcoin was pumping and alts were just kind of like quiet, you know, like they weren't really moving extensively along with Bitcoin, I was noticing Pepe was up like 10%, 15% as Bitcoin was going up. And this is when Ethereum wasn't even really, it was like moving with Bitcoin. Dogecoin is one of those coins as well, where you see Dogecoin will trade really well against and with Bitcoin. And so there's only a few, it's just a basket of coins that can do this. And you want to be holding those in your portfolio if you're going to be having risk, risk in altcoins, then this is the way that you can keep your portfolio pretty strong. Unless you decide to hold like mid, low cap, high risk stuff that you have to hold through major volatility for the potential reward of getting a mega move, but you have to be fast. You might have to be a lot quicker instead of holding these multi-cycle alts that you just steadily accumulate. And then the kicker here, which we're going to talk about, is Ethereum going into all-time high. Ethereum going into all-time high is going to set these. And another coin too that I think has performed pretty well with Bitcoin, but also it's seen its battles is Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu, where you can see it's mainly performed, instead of it performing really well against Bitcoin, it's performed pretty well against Ethereum. And so it's traded well with Ethereum and also with Bitcoin, but you can see here, just like every alt and especially meme coins at the peak here, they got smashed and got brought to the lows. And so there's a lot of charts that did this. Like there's Brett, there's by Bobo. God, what other memes just freaking bottomed out? A dog with hat. I mean, that got crushed from the all-time highs. Like a lot of alts got hit with like a 90% drawdown from the highs of the Trump pump. Like from January, most memes and just altcoins in general went down 87 to 90%. It wasn't like, oh, that was just your altcoin. No, it was like all of them. Like all of them got smashed. So from January, I think an average of 90% of alts got destroyed against Bitcoin. And then if you look at Bitcoin, we look at Bitcoin and see this. You look at this range. By the way, we're gonna go into this too. So we were just kind of covering some of the nature of the alts here, and also some of the news. But we're gonna get into this price action very, very soon. But if you go into AI Griff. yeah. Let me highlight this comment. Where's the chat? I want to make this bigger. He said, "This might sound bad, but I so want Trump to be the top of this market." You want Trump to be the top? You want like the Trump coin like to pump again, or do you want it to be like the signal indicator? Like, what do you mean? Because we've talked about the Trump coin. It's one of the coins that it's the highest liquidity token on Solana. We don't want to get off track here, but we will discuss that. Yeah, we'll discuss that. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, average 90% drawdown since January, and if we go to if we go to Bitcoin, let's see how much Bitcoin went down. From the top in January, let's just go to the very bottom of what we went to. We went down to like, I think we wicked all the way to 74. Yeah, so we basically... So Bitcoin, okay, so this is good. So this is good to do this research if you think about it, because in any bull market, we actually, if you look back historically, even you can go back into like 2012, 2013, or go to 2016 and 17 and go back into 2020 and 2021, all those cycles had 41, 41% drawdowns, 29%, anywhere between 25 to a max of like 41% drawdowns a few times. Like I think one of the times it did it like 3 or 4 times before we went into the banana zone and pumped. So, and then you can also look at this as like, okay, when Bitcoin goes down 31%, you can just expect a 90% drawdown on altcoins. And so what you have to think to yourself, and looking at this chart, what an amazing buy opportunity in DCA strategy to do exactly what the market is doing on the other side. The exchanges are, running it up, they're selling it, and then they're buying back at these lows, and they're also doing this by wrecking the leverage long trades, because you can see it right here. Like, here's the range where they're ranging the Bitcoin price and wrecking 50, 100x longs down in 108 that they just did. And then look, you got high area right here that they'll eventually push it up, but they're more so suppressing the price to break out right now, and it's about to pop. And I feel like that with Ethereum too, but that's besides the point. Here is where you can notice anytime we get these opportunities, like to when Bitcoin dips like this, that's where you have to, your conviction is tested to then go, am I going to buy more right here? And this is where everyone is tested. Everyone has to put their money where their mouth is when things are like this, because that's what the institutions are doing. If you watch the action, this is all manipulation to just still catch lows, and then they're just accumulating and buying up these wicks. As we see these scam wicks, boom, and then it just gets pushed up. You can see it here where they did this. This is Wyckoff accumulation spread across from January to July. This is how they do it. This is Wyckoff right now. So I've been studying this. Is they run it up to a top, and then they consolidate it down. And then you can see a redistribution right here. They hit a low, then it hits resistance, and then it hits another low because it's a fake out. That's the trap. And then it goes to a new low, and then it goes back up to test basically the W top, this through line right here, and then it redistributes back up to the range. Crazy. But this is cool. This is cool to see how this is how institutions accumulate over a long period of time and how they play the game. So the daily is where you can really see this, and it just shows that all they were doing was running it back down here, so then they could really build the bags back up to then run it up to the next level, which is going to be 120,000. If you look at the Fibonacci extension right here on Bitcoin, the 1618, that's the target. That's the target here in at least the short term, but then the overall sweet spot we're looking for is to hit that 150. That'll be a mega milestone. I think even more important than the 120 is to hit that 150. That would be kind of a major, breakout to happen. And you could also look at this, even though it's a little jagged, you could kind of look at, that's not a cup, but I mean, you can kind of look at it like that's a dipped area and then a handle. Yeah, and there's always, like Hyro said, there's always a fake out dip to the downside, which was this one, this 98. This one too, like there's this one, there's this one where it was like people are like, "Yep, it's over. It's over. Like it's bear market, guys. That was the top." And then this is where you can see the market, and this is where everyone was like, it's going to be the worst, market crash in history. And then let's go to the S&P 500, and you can see where they basically brought the market right down to the lows of where it crashed in April 2024 last year. You can see it right here. Here's where they bottomed it out. And they're like, it's never gonna recover. It's gonna actually go lower. Jim Cramer was saying, just prepare for it to even go 20% lower. That's what Jim Cramer was saying. He was like, it's gonna go down another 10%. That's what he said right here. Right here, he said it was gonna go down another 10%. Right here. Right here, he said another 10%. And then what did it do? It actually recovered up to all-time highs, 30%. And what's hilarious is if you go back to one of my live streams where I did a little research, I said, well, okay, so how many times has the market and have recovered, or what did it when it recovered, when they said it was going to be doomsday? They do the doomsday articles. They said it's the worst crash. There's blood in the streets. Everyone's dying. People are jumping out of windows. And from those points, the market recovered 35% on average on every single time they did one of those pieces. CNBC, whatever. And sure enough, it literally happened again. They did the same thing where they're like, here, they get you to be the most fear, and look what happens. Wall Street buys the fear, and you get sidelined out, and they made a bunch of money. Fascinating. Very, very fascinating. But yeah, guys, welcome. I see everyone active in the comments. I see we got a lot more people on YouTube. Let's go. People are getting more interested. They're starting to think, okay, I got to pay attention now. I got to start to pay attention a little bit. It's the time. It is the time to be in crypto and to learn this stuff. I can't begin to tell you the scope of how many people are not focused on this right now. Like, I talk to musicians. I talk to, like, I always ask people, like, are you watching this right now? Are you investing? What are you doing? And it's always a pretty across the board, like, no, I've been there. It's kind of like, I think I need, some people are looking, but you'd be surprised. I don't know, maybe if you would be surprised or not, but I am just sometimes surprised to see how many people are just still not doing what we're doing. And I'm not saying like what we're doing is some like honorable thing or, it's like, but we've just been here experimenting and testing and just getting ourselves familiar with the language, with the charts, with what's happening in the scope of politics when it comes to monetary policy, like knowing what the Fed's doing. Like you think about it, years and years ago, you never were thinking about what the Fed was doing. You weren't thinking about that. You were thinking about what the interest rates were going to be. You just like your mind wasn't in that type of mode. So now this is the time to start focusing on this stuff, because this is where long-term wealth is going to be generated, is by you strengthening these skills and navigating all this stuff, because that's where the true money is made. Yes, you can make money by going into your career and stuff like that, But at the end of the day, with that money that you make, it is debased. Every year, your money is getting less and less and less, and it's a fact. A $60,000 salary now is not enough to support what it used to be able to support. Just 3-4 years ago, a $60K a year salary, you could be living pretty comfortable. I mean, you could even, like, when the market was like not so crazy and the interest rates were just like a little, like even just a little bit calmer, it was relatively easy to make some headway, like pay, get out of debt, maybe even pay off the student loans. I mean, just do all that stuff with a little bit of extra money left over, live a pretty, clean, decent life. Like, you could be budgeting and also maybe have money to invest with making $60K a year. Now, the $60K a year now is only paying for just exactly what you need, like groceries, your rent. Because if you break it down, because look, we could do the math. If you make $60K a year and you have, like, your expenses are, because the expenses, you'd be surprised how much you actually spend in the month. I mean, it's crazy. It's once you really start to break down how much money goes out in the month and what you're bringing in, you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. A lot of people don't even do that. That's what's crazy. A lot of people don't even budget. They don't even look at the numbers. They don't even want to. Like, what's the real number? Because then you got to think people are buying stuff on credit. So then that's even a higher budget, because then you're paying interest on credit card debt. So it's crazy. You got to go. This is where my mind has been like, how do I fully maximize everything to the point where all of my like, I know, like, what's going out and what's going in. But think about it. Like, $60K now is not enough unless you are really very diligent. You're not eating out all the time. You're like really cutting it. You're really cutting the expenses. You don't have a bunch of subscriptions. You don't have $15-$20 bubble going out, and you could do it. And if you're also, it's a lot harder though, but when you have kids, because kids are expensive, kids that you have to be able to, if you're going to give them a good life, you're going to be putting them through a good school. You're going to pay for, daycare services, or you're going to be, you have to feed them. It's like all this stuff. It's like, there's so much expense. So if you're not doing this right now, please start. It's not too late. It's not too late. This is how you're going to actually be able to build up a portfolio of crypto. And who cares what an amount is? Who cares? I don't care if you have $50 in crypto right now. That is more than 90% of people. If you have $50 right now in crypto, because I used to feel like this too, because I've had different amounts. I've been wiped clean. I've been bamboozled. I've like gone from thousands of dollars of crypto to literally having $100, and then back up to having thousands, and then having hundreds. So trust me, don't feel bad. If you still even have skin in the game at all in crypto, you should feel good about yourself, because 90% of people right now don't have any exposure at all. So just remember that. I've had to have my moments where I was like, woo. Like, I mean, think about 2022. Think about FTX. Like, think about, people got wiped. So if you're still here, give yourself a round of applause. Like, give yourself a pat on the back, because you're a legend. You're an absolute legend. I don't. And you have to remember when you walk around people, you can have this feeling that you're like, yeah, I survived. I survived the Luna crash, the FTX crash. I survived all of the. I survived all of the major events. I survived all the rug pulls of crypto Twitter. And yeah, Headband says, yeah, never compare your bags to others. Always been a good idea. Yeah, because I've been caught, feeling like that, or been, like I now that why I made that live stream and that picture where I said I'm free. I feel more free now and feel like I truly over the past 3 years, 3.5 years since 2021. I figured out what I want to invest in now. I figured out what I want to do. I figured out my plan. Like I have a strategy. I feel more confident now in my strategy in crypto because I made those mistakes over the past 3.5 years. Because, am I lagging super bad? Headband says I'm lagging. Is anyone else experiencing a lag? Is the live stream being funky? It says I have excellent. I am lagging. Oh no. It says I have excellent connection. That's weird. But I'm lagging. Let me fix it. I know how to fix it. It's probably my VPN.